Hey everyone, Chrissy at Pinnovate. This tutorial is for our amazing mountain string art board. This is a lot of fun to do and it always turns out really amazing. So follow along to make your own. Okay, so included in your kit, it comes with a square wooden board, a template, 2 colors of string, sandpaper, nails, paint, a foam brush, and the only other things that you're gonna need would be a hammer, possibly some tape, and a little bit of paper towel just in case. Okay, so our very first step for this project is to sand our wood board. So with your sandpaper, you're going to make sure that all of the edges have no slivers coming off and that it's soft to the touch. Okay, so our board is sanded and we're ready to go. The next step is to paint. Make sure that you prep your area first with some newspaper or garbage bag to make sure that you don't get messy. And otherwise, have fun. We just want to have a nice thin coat on here. Make sure you get your edges. Okay, so a couple tips and tricks for painting. You want to make sure that your paint is nice and thin and you want it to dry in between coats. That's gonna give you the best results. If you put a very thick layer on there, it's not going to dry properly. So I suggest doing 2 to 3 coats, thin layer, dry it in between. Now to speed up the drying, you can also use a hair dryer. It makes it go really fast. All right, so our next step is to add our template. So we're going to take our template, we're going to center it right on top. Make sure that the lines at the bottom are parallel to the bottom of the wood. I like to add a piece of tape to the edges to make sure that it doesn't shift anywhere. So we'll add our tape on there. And we're good to go. All right, it's hammer time. So the next part that we're going to do is we're actually going to hammer our nails right through these holes on our template. When you're hammering, you want the nail to be approximately halfway down. You want them as straight as possible. If it has a tip in it, just give it a little tap, you can straighten it up. And you want them roughly the same height so it's easy to string. So when you're hammering, you can go right through the hole. Don't be afraid of the hammer. And you want it to be about halfway in, just like that. You're going to do all of them, and then you can actually take your template and pop it right off. All right, so we have all of our nails in there. They're all about the same height. They're nice and straight. And then once you're done, you can actually go ahead and peel off that template. And it'll pop right off. And you have all of your nails on there. And we're ready to go. All right, so we are ready to string. So we're going to take the first color of the string that you have, and we're going to tie a little slip knot, almost like a little mini noose, like a lasso. And you're going to place that right on top of your very, very peak of your mountain. And I like to double knot it to make sure that it doesn't come undone. Make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, so there is a stringing pattern to this, and it is quite easy once you get to know it. So we're going to take our string, go all the way down on the left-hand side to this bottom one. Now you're going to string on the right-hand side of that same nail. When you get up here, you're going to string on the right-hand side of the peak nail. And you're going to do that twice. 1, 2. Okay. Also, when you're stringing, you want to make sure that the string is nice and tight so it doesn't come unraveling on you. Always have it nice and tight. So now we're going to do the exact same thing to this nail. Remember to stay on the left-hand side of this peak, come up on the right-hand side of that peak nail, and then do it a second time. Okay. So far, so good. Now we're going to do the exact same thing over all of these nails. All right, so we're done stringing and we have to finish off and tie this off. So what I like to do is I'm going to cut a very long tail. Now with this tail, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did at the beginning, and I'm going to make a little lasso. So there's my knot. I'm going to slide it on top of our very, very peak of our mountain, and I'm going to pull nice and tight. Make sure that that's on there. I like to do that 2 times. Slide it on, pull it nice and tight. Another option is, since you're ending at the same position, you can actually take these 2 knots or these 2 strings and tie those together as well as an option. Okay, so we're on to our next color of string. So now we're going to be stringing the peak right at the very top. This is the exact same pattern that we just did, but at the end, we're actually going to zigzag right through to give the nice edges of the peak. So again, we're going to start with our little lasso right on the very top of our mountain, double knot. Okay, so on the left, up to the top. There's 1, to the next nail over. It's the exact same pattern that we just did. Remember to keep your string nice and tight so it doesn't come undone. All right, so once we're finished off stringing here, we're going to bring our string all the way back to the other side. And now we're going to zigzag or weave our way in between these peaks. Just up and down, up and down, up and down. And then now that we're back at the top, we're going to tie it off. So like before, I'm going to cut a long tail. I'm going to make my little lasso and put that right on the very, very peak and pull the tail so it's nice and tight. And I do that 2 times to make sure that it's on there. And again, alternately, you can tie these 2 pieces together at the top as well. But once those are on, you can trim it off. Make sure to leave a little bit so it doesn't unravel on itself. And there we have it. Thank you so much for following along our mountain string art tutorial. Please follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of the things. And when you're done your project, we would love to see how it turned out. So please tag us on Instagram at Pinnovate.